Hello my friends and welcome. My name is Dennis and as you probably know I am airline captain, and today we are going to speak about the airplanes. Not the airplanes but the airplanes. And as you know there are many of airplanes around, so what should you choose as a pilot and what is the best airplane for you? Stay tuned and you will know the answer. No, my friends, it's not the flight simulator video. I will use the flight simulator just a background to show you different airplane types. For example, here we have single engine piston. Here we have Cessna 152, but it can be any of a single engine piston aircraft that is certified for your training or flying, and that's your first step to have before if you even want to go to commercial aviation. First you need to have the private pilot license and you need to have all those exams and flight training passed for your private pilot license. It's like a world standard. Some pilots just stay this step and they fly the private airplanes, but if you want to go commercial airplane, you go to flight school that is certified for commercial pilot training, and you have your multi-engine rating, etc., multi-crew rating, and after that you can be employed in some kind of airline. But here we have very simple, the first step aircraft, Cessna 152, can be Cessna 172, Tecnams, etc. As I say to you, the cockpit is very easy. Let's go to the cockpit. Okay, we'll switch the communication off. As you can see, for this kind of aircraft, it's lagging. The instruments are pretty much okay. The cockpit is very, I would say, old style, because this aircraft was designed a long time ago, and you have just a modern type of communication, navigation, etc. But I would say it's quite comfortable aircraft to fly. Let's fly it and I'll tell you about it during our flight. I started my career from the glider flights. After that I finished my private pilot training on Wilga certified. It is certified as a training airplane to get the private pilot license. I don't know for now is it certified or not this time, but I would rather try to fly this airplane because Wilga is more for towing the gliders. It has the tail strut, non-standard. I would highly recommend to fly with using this standard version of landing gear with the nose wheel, not the aft strut, because the landing is a little bit different. I think Cessna 152 or 172 is the best choice for you as the private pilot if you want to buy this airplane, because you may find lots of accessories, lots of spare parts all around the world for this type of airplane, because it's everywhere. The Cessnas are everywhere, in Europe, in Africa. By the way, if you want to go for humanitarian flights, if you want to work in Africa or maybe Asia in some countries, you may choose to fly this small airplane to deliver some goods or people to remote areas, and I would say this job is very fantastic, my friends. But as for me, I just wanted to become a commercial pilot. I wanted to fly jets, and I would recommend it stuff. I like to fly jets in commercial airline. Maybe it's for me. Yeah, the simulator is very laggy because we fly in Nice. It's the south of France, and I was flying my Boeing 737 here. Yes, I'm Boeing 737 captain. And it's a wonderful approach from this side, and you almost overfly these buildings. It's okay for Cessna, but for Boeing it's very fast, you know, and you need to turn here at 800 feet of altitude. Oh, interesting. So if you want to stick to small airplanes like this, I would suggest you to have maybe the Cessna. For now, it really doesn't matter the single engine piston because it's the one rating. So if you have that single engine piston rating, you can fly any aircraft, at least here in Europe, as far as I know, you can fly every single engine piston airplane. If you have the turboprop, the airplane with turboprop engine, that's the other story. But you may fly, for example, if you are a pilot on Cessna, you may fly Tecnam and other and other stuff. But if you are instructor on Cessna, you can instruct people only on Cessna. As far as I know, the regulations are like this. Pam pam. Usually your second step is to get the twin engine type rating. So like here we have Beechcraft with 2 turboprop engines, or you may be lucky enough, as many of my friends who were lucky to get the first job on Boeing 737 and Airbus right from the bench, right from the flight academy. But let's speak about the Boeing and Airbus a little bit later. Now we'll speak about the twin engine turboprop airplanes. I was lucky also to have my first commercial job on ATR, that is twin engine turboprop airplane. The capacity of 70 people for ATR 72 and 48 people for ATR 42. And I was really excited flying that airplane. Let's fly here. By the way, we are in Bologna, I think, or somewhere. I put this airport just randomly, Italy. Well, anyway, my friends, I was happy because the ATR 72 and 42 is the best choice for turboprop commercial pilot, because it's massive airplanes, mostly produced commercial turboprop ever for commercial aviation. Of course, also you may choose the DASH Q-400, which is a little bit, I would say, more powerful compared to ATR, and I think it's a little bit better. But to have your first job, I would highly suggest ATR, because you may easily find the other job if something's happened. That happened to me actually, because I lost my first job. We have some other communications, so I'll reduce the volume. So I lost my first job on ATR because the airline decided that they will fly Boeings and they'll just lay off all the pilots from ATR. So I was searching my second job and I was able to find it on ATR in Indonesia. So I used to fly in Garuda-Indonesia. Without this type rating, it will be hard for me to find the other job, because if you apply somewhere abroad, the company, the airline, they are searching for type-rated pilot with a good experience. So what you need to do is you need to have enough flight hours, at least for first officer 500 hours, and if you are a captain, you need to have 1000 hours on type, and you may apply somewhere. So I highly recommend you, my friends, not to stick to these airplanes if you want to fly in commercial aviation like this Baron King Air. That not many of airplanes like this flying around for commercial. They mostly private airplanes. I would suggest you to go for ATR or DASH Q-400. By the way, this Beechcraft King Air is superb private airplane. Well, before reaching the jet level, if you want to fly somewhere, you may reach your destination within the hours, because this thing is very fast. I mean, for Europe, if you live in Europe and you have some kind of private meetings within this area of Europe, this airplane is superb because of the fuel consumption is very low compared to jet airplanes, and also this thing is really fast. Well, still you need to land somewhere, probably if you want to go from Lisbon, from one point of Europe, let's say here to Ukraine, probably you need to land somewhere on your way for refueling. But still, I like this thing. And you may also find a very interesting types of airplane like Pilatus Porter and Cessna Caravan. They are single engine turboprop airplanes, and you may find a job on that planes even in Indonesia. Remember, the worst place to be a pilot series about the Susi Airlines. They have many of the applications from all around the world after that show, and of course it's a superb job to fly. So from one side, you are not growing up in that airlines because there are no any jets, etc., but you have a superb job, the unique job that can provide very unique, I would say, piloting experience for you, because you may land your Pilatus Porter on unpaved runways, you may land your Cessna Caravan in very remote airfields and areas. I think this job is really interesting. But if you wanna go to commercial aviation, to some of the major airlines, the next step is for you. Pam pam. And here we have the commercial jet airliner. In our case, it's the Airbus A320neo, Yeah, I reduced the graphics so you may see it's quite terrible right now. Let's go to the cockpit. Actually, I like the cockpit of the Airbus. It's very modern compared to Boeing 737 because it was designed in late 80s, but Boeing was designed in late 60s. So you may see the difference, especially in overhead panel. If you open some of the image of the Boeing cockpit, you will see all these kind of switches, and you need to do lots of actions in a cockpit just before taxi procedures, very long engine start procedures. You need to do some of the stuff to start the engine. Here you just start the engines with this master switch, and it's very interesting cockpit. I think Airbus or Boeing 737 are the best type ratings for commercial pilots. So I'm now Boeing 737 captain, and I really love my airplane. I also love the Airbus, and if you want to constantly be employed in aviation, I would highly recommend you to have those type ratings, my friends, because it's widely used airplanes everywhere. In Asia, Africa, United States of America, Canada, Europe, everywhere. Here in Ukraine also we have mostly Boeings, but also we have some of the Airbuses. But I would highly recommend you to have Airbus 320 or Boeing 737. Must have, my friends, because crisis times show us that all these big airplanes will just go retire, like Boeing 747, Airbus 380 also have now some of the issues because they have a quite low payload compared to their weight. Let's say the Boeing 777 can have almost the same payload as Airbus 380, sorry my friends. That is why it's not very efficient to have those planes flying now. So please, if you want to fly constantly, you must have this type rating. Let's take off here. We are somewhere, Dublin, we are in Ireland. I would like to try the Airbus in my real life. I tried simulators, the real pilot training, the full flight simulators used for pilot training. I've flown this Airbus 320, not the Neo but the older version, and also flew the Airbus 320. I think with this new engine option, this airplane looks absolutely fantastic. Also, I'd like to try to fly the Boeing 737 MAX with the same LEAP 1A engines. Actually, there is one more option for these engines. You can install the Pratt & Whitney engines. I don't remember the model, but you can choose. At least on Airbus you can. On Boeing I don't really know. Let's speak about the salaries, my friends. The salaries on these planes are also quite okay, I would say. The highest salary probably you'll have in China, flying in China. It's quite difficult to be employed there, to pass all these bureaucratic things that they have there. But the salary is astonishing there. Why do I have overspeed? I retracted the flaps. Anyway, my friends, I would highly recommend this airplane. So what you have, the benefits is these airplanes are widely used. That is why the airlines are always in need of pilots, new pilots, first officers, captains, of course. Because of that, the salary is higher even compared to big airliners like, for example, Boeing 747. You'll have much more salary, greater salary, not much more salary, but greater salary. So, and you'll be constantly employed, my friends. If something will happen to one airline, the other airline have this aircraft, and you may be employed there. So it doesn't matter. You're not so critical. Depends on your particular airline. You may choose the place where you want to be employed. Of course, there are some of the again bureaucratic issues. If you want to be employed in the United States, you need to have the FAA license. If you want to be employed in the European Union, you need to have the European Union passport, as far as I know, and also the pilot license. So some of these local regulations, they build the border just to secure the local market for the local people. Pam pam. The big airplanes like this Boeing 747, Queen of the Skies, or Airbus 380, I wouldn't highly recommend for you to have this type rating, my friends, because of two reasons. So these airplanes are quite rare. Well, for example, you know probably Captain Joe, who is employed in Cargolux Airlines. They fly this modern Boeing 747-8, but those planes are no longer in production. But I'm sure they'll continue fly that, and I think Captain Joe will secure his job for entire career. But as for Airbus 380, they're also no longer in production. So if you lose your job in a crisis, it will be very hard for you to find the other job, because usually airlines require the current type rating. For example, Boeing 737 current type rating with flight hours. You need to have some of the flight hours within the last 12 months usually. That is why I would highly recommend you to stick to the smallest aircraft, smaller. If you like long haul aviation, I would recommend to have the type rating on Airbus 350, on Boeing 787 or Boeing 777. I think they're more widely used around the world, so it's better to stick to those airplanes that are commonly used around the world. The chances for you to have nice salary and nice job are much higher. Well, if you like cargo flights, you may fly this Boeing 747, for example, in Silkway or Cargolux Airlines. It depends on whether they have the pilot entries open due to this crisis. But what I heard, my friends, the cargo transport ship increased dramatically during this crisis. I know it from Antonov Airlines that their flights increased. Now they decreased because we are getting out of this crisis, but I think it's very interesting job to fly the cargo flights. Alright, let's just take off. And the second reason why I don't like this long haul aviation in general, as for me, maybe I'll change my mind in the future, maybe the next day, but for now what I see, I like more takeoffs and landings to have. On Boeing 737 I can have as much as 4 landings, well, at least 2 landings as pilot flying per day. On these airplanes I may have 1 landing per month. You can have, I think, 3 up to 5 flights per month, not usually more for long haul aviation. So that is why I don't really like the long hauls for now. I like the Airbus 350, I like Boeing 787 and 777. They are superb planes. I would like to try to fly them, but to be employed and to get out of your family for many days, to leave them on their own, I don't know. For my Boeing 737, well, I live just nearby to my airport, and I just fly somewhere. I come back every day or in the night after. For long haul aviation, maybe I think it's not just mine. And what I would recommend to you, my friends, if you are a newcomer in aviation, if you want to be a pilot, if you have the possibility to go for a jet, go for a jet. Because I spent around 7 years flying turboprops. That's quite a lot. But nevertheless, I'm very happy that I have this school. I started from the gliders, then I went to the piston, single engine piston, then I flew the twin engine turboprop, then finally I went to jet aviation. Now I'm captain on Boeing 737. Yeah, just land here, probably. I used to fly here. This is a Chaika airfield. I used to fly here as well on a small airplane. Wow. Here's an unpaved runway, just a strip. Boom. Speed brakes. Yeah. If you want to see me flying the real Boeing 7, not the real but simulator on this airplane, I tried to fly it in the most professional way with all the automation systems. You may check it out in my channel. Still, not I think, but I'm sure that this airplane, this default model of this flight simulator airplane, is not developed nicely. The automation systems, the automatic systems are working very, very bad here. So they need to update this model for sure. Or some of the different third-party developers need to do some of the model, need to create, design some of the model. I didn't think we will land here. This Chaika airfield, just near to the Kiev. This is the drop zone where Antonov 2 flies, also Antonov 28 flies. They drop the skydivers, and also there is the aerobatics, some aerobatic flights, Yakovlev 52 and Sukhoi airplanes. Nice airfield and nice airplane. My friends, during this crisis time, no matter what type rating you want to have, if you have the possibility to fly any of type rating, whether it's Embraer, Boeing, Airbus, just take your job, because it's a very rare opportunity in our case. And also for newcomers, for those who want to be a pilot, I would highly suggest you to go for cadet programs. So stick to it. Maybe you need to invest some money to it, but after all, you will have your job. And remember, I have two of my favorite type ratings. It's Airbus 320 and Boeing 737. I know you also like airplanes, any kind of airplanes. That is why you are awesome guy. So you need to follow the awesome guy checklist. So first you need just to like this video, then subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, whatever it means. Thank you very much for watching my video and have a great time. Pam pam.